Well, hello again, friends and neighbors. In today's video, I have something rather exciting. At least I think it's exciting. I have been waiting for this box to get here for at least a week and a half or so. I have, ordering live plants online is it's like electric chess. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you get electrocuted. Not literally, but first of all, look at this packaging that this came in. This is the first package I've ever had that actually had this really decorative, dirty but pretty packaging. In this box are 4 or 5 Tolumnia orchids, which are a miniature variety of orchids. They come from, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't remember exactly where, but what I do remember is that they are native to coastal areas that are used to a lot of high humidity early in the day, and then they have full sun or bright sun, high humidity. They don't like to be grown in things, they like to be grown on things, because they're in the wild they're twig epiphytes, meaning they grow at the ends of twigs, just as a mass of roots. So they get a lot of breeze and a lot of sunlight, and the ambient humidity in the air. Now, these things are tiny. I almost want to keep that. I'm not going to, but my plan is to mount these orchids on these little ceramic pot holders, or you would put a pot on it, but I'm gluing these hooks or hangers on here to hang them on the wall behind me, as close to that light as I can get them, because this is the only space I have left where I can put orchids. And yet I still bought more today and don't know what I'm going to do with them. So the struggle is real. So let's go ahead and get these unwrapped. Now, I don't know what particular species or varieties each one of these is, so I won't know until I see the tag. And I'll try to include a photograph of what the flower is supposed to look like for each one of these, because the flowers are just spectacular. I mean, for small plants, the flowers are actually relatively large for the size of the plants. Now, I'm just going to get each one of these out of here and hope that each one of these has a tag. The listing said they would, so I hope they do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have 6. Wow. Okay. All right. So let's put the phone over here. Put the drinky poo over here. Put these over here, and we'll open these one by one. We'll start with the one that's actually open. And they're actually wrapped in little care sheets, which I think is kind of cool. A couple of them are wrapped in Dendrobium care sheets, which may mean those are not Tolumnias. I don't know. We'll find out together. Okay, let's unwrap the first one. Isn't it cute? It's so tiny. It's just tiny little, and they don't get real big. What I'll probably do is soak these in water and try to remove them from these little plastic cups they're on. These orchids are sympodial, like most oncidiums, but they don't possess pseudobulbs. Instead, they have these very triangular shaped leaves. And you know something I didn't, oh look, there it is. Okay, alright. So this particular variety is called Tolumnia Jairak Flyer Sahara, and I'm not a very steady person, so I shake a little bit, so I don't know if you can read that, but I will include a picture, and I will have to make a tag for that. But as I was saying, they don't possess pseudobulbs. They rely on these thick, fleshy leaves for water retention, and these have been in the post for a little while, for about, like I said, about a week. So I'm sure they're thirsty and will need water. But I will soak them in the sink here in a little bit. And I'm not going to fold these. I actually want to keep these. What I'll probably do is laminate one of these and add it to my paperwork collection over there. All right, on to the next one. I'm gonna have to find pictures of these actual flowers and add them in. Look at that. Look at that cute little pot. Oh, look. They're just so tiny. So tiny. This one is Golden Sunset Brownie. And I know this flower, just from this picture, is not going to do it justice. So I will include an actual proper photograph of that. I just can't wait for these to bloom. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. And this one was also wrapped in a Tolumnia care sheet. Ooh, Tolumnia Red Devil. Instead of devil, it's D-A-V-I-L. It's like a pastel red that is beautiful. These things are like the plant equivalent. The plant equivalent of Skittles. So these are in very nice shapes. And you can tell that these have actually been getting plenty of sunlight, because what they do is they have this like brownish reddish kind of tint. And if you achieve that, you know you're giving them enough light. If they're just like a green color, you can dial it up a little bit. But if it's like a really dark purple, you're giving it way too much light. It's like I said, it's like Easter. It's like finding Easter eggs, except these Easter eggs will grow. I mean, if you don't hard boil an Easter egg and it's fertile, I guess it'll grow too, but it's not quite the same thing. Ooh, that was kind of large. Oh, wow. This one is called, okay, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's spelled Jairak. Jairak Red Spread. I kind of wish that they had put these in these little bags the opposite direction, but that one's in pretty good shape. And you'll notice, like I said, these orchids don't grow in things, they grow on things. But if you notice, there's nothing in this pot. It's just the plant. The plant is literally just rooted itself to the pot. I'm fairly certain that most of these roots are dead, although I do see green root tips. And I also do see, this is a new growth, so these plants are healthy, they are growing, they're in good shape, and this won't get much taller. But what it will do is it will just keep making a bigger and bigger clump. So if you can imagine this out of this little basket here, what it will do is it will grow sideways. And it will kind of fill this whole thing. And eventually you won't be able to see this, which is why I picked this. Even while you can see it against that red wall, I think this will be okay. All right, we've got two more. And I'm still waiting. I just did this. I'm still waiting for the glue to kind of set before I do anything to these. So these will not get potted right away. I'll have to do a little time lapse. Or not time lapse, what's the word? Time warp into the future where I actually mount these and show you exactly how I do that. Now this one is wrapped in Dendrobium. I assume that she just ran out of no Dendrobium red blue Panjarat pink. I'm sure I butchered that, but look at that tiny little thing. So what is a dendrobium? It's a tiny little dendrobium. Tiny little thing. I can go ahead and pot this on camera, I think. But I didn't really want dendrobiums, but hey. So that means this other one is also a dendrobium, which this is nice because this is another laminatable piece of a little spot on the back of that. I don't know if I hope where I can laminate this and put it with. I've got one for Miltoniopsis, and I've also got one for Oncidium already. I don't really need them, but it's always good to have source material that you can jump back to if you don't feel like grabbing your phone and Googling it. This one's nice. Ooh, this one just says Dendrobium Yellow, number 58. Okay, all right. So this is actually the new growth. These were all seedlings, and you can tell that this is the original, the little tiny pseudobulb from the original seedling, and then the next one where it gets a little bigger, and then the latest where it's actually almost a proper pseudobulb cane. So nice. Nice, nice. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to take these guys to the sink. These two gentlemen are going to go over here. I'm going to take these to the sink, give them a good drink, and then I'm going to grab a couple small net pots, a little bit of sphagnum moss. I knew it was going to do that. Reflexes like a cat. Grab a couple net pots, grab a little bit of sphagnum moss, go ahead and pot these up on camera, and we'll, at a later, here in a few minutes, I'll make the tag. I don't know what I was looking at, I'm not wearing a watch. But in a few minutes I'll make the tag. So let me go do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so here we go. Now, before you say anything, I know these pots are way too big for these little plants. See, it's a small plant. It's too big a pot. I know. I don't have anything smaller. Plus, these are net pots. You know, you can actually see through them. They dry out fairly quickly, so that's the only reason I'm not too worried about using a pot that's a little too big. And plus I have nothing else to use, so this is what we're going to go with. Plus, I'm fairly confident that these two varieties of dendrobiums are not miniature dendrobiums. They're fairly large-sized dendrobiums, so they're not gonna. I don't want to mount them because they're going to get too big at some point. So pots it is, and they should be able to stay in these pots for quite a while. So, all right. Well, let's get going then. So, I soaked. Oh, and just as an aside, I bought a huge bag of sphagnum moss, and I got it at, if you live in the Pensacola area, it's Pensacola Seed and Gardens. They actually have this, the one on the west side, not the one on 9 Mile Road, but the one on the west side of Pensacola, has these big bags of sphagnum moss, and they also have big bags of orchid mulch, or orchid bark, and I got a bag of each. Well, this has got to be some of the dirtiest sphagnum moss I've ever seen in my life. There's bits and pieces of grass and all different other kinds of stuff in here. So I've used it on a few of my other orchids, and I haven't noticed any like bacterial growth or fungal growth or anything like that. So far I think it's safe. It seems to be safe. So it's what I've got. It's what I'm going to use. So we'll see. But I wanted to point that out because, you know, if you buy sphagnum moss from Lowe's or Home Depot and you buy it in that little brick, it's usually very pristine, yellow, really pretty. This is not that moss, but you know what? If it works to grow the orchid in, I don't care what it looks like. You know what I mean? I just don't care. As long as it works for what I need it for. And what's picking out a little bit of grass and straw. Okay. I don't want to plant it too deep, but I do want it in there like that. Give it a good little pack. I mean, I don't want to compact it too much, but I do want it to be fairly sturdy in the pot. I don't want to cover up the new growth. See, the thing with this is a sympodial monopodial. Dendrobiums are kind of like the mix of the two. Monopodial meaning they produce one stalk and they grow straight up. Sympodial meaning they grow from a rhizome and they produce pseudobulbs. Now, if you've ever seen a dendrobium orchid, they grow like canes. Well, each one of those canes is actually a pseudobulb. So it grows one, you know, some of them are deciduous, some of them are not. But they grow tall, and then that cane hardens off, and usually it'll bloom from an older cane, and then it'll grow a new cane from the bottom. Well, this is the new growth here on this older cane, or pseudobulb. And what'll happen is the new growth will start to put out new roots. And I don't want to bury it underneath the the substrate, I want it just about the same level as the substrate. So the roots come out, they can immediately go into the substrate, and then this can take off that way. But if you bury it too deep, sometimes you kind of open yourself up to infections. So you do that with Phalaenopsis. I've lost a couple Phalaenopsis by burying them a little bit too deep in the pot and them getting crown rot. So don't want that to happen. So I gotta keep these tags with these. What I'll do is I'll handwrite a tag, and then I'll laminate it, and then I'll cut it out, and then I've got a pair of hole punch in there. Or, well, I'll laminate and cut it in a strip and just stick it in the pot. So you don't have to worry about that. And if you're interested, I guess I can record that and show you. I got a laminator from Aldi, believe it or not, for a decent price. I think like $20 for the machine. And I have used the hell out of it. You can probably tell all the stuff on the wall back there is laminated because I'm cheap and didn't want to pay for frames. So laminating it was the next best thing. Even if it does maybe possibly look a little tacky or like a, classroom, but whatever. I don't want this to be too soggy, but I just want it to be just moist enough. And this one's a little bit bigger. And with these, what I'll do is I'll put the older part of the plant, which is these on the back side of the pot, so that because it's going to keep growing in this direction, so I want to give it enough room to keep going. So if you're repotting one of these, that's kind of what you're going for. You want to give the plant room to grow in the whatever direction it's liable to grow in, and because these grow kind of from a rhizome, and it's going to grow in one direction. Now that new growth could go this way or come to that way, but it's going to be on that side of the plant. So you want to put that side towards the center of the pot. The plant will make up its mind whatever it wants to do, and you can only do so much to prepare it for life, but give it a little heads up, or a little head start by at least placing it in the right direction. And just as another side, I'm not generally that smitten with yellow flowers. So this may be a gift for somebody once it gets the blooming size. I don't know. Who knows? That's going to be a while. That's the only downside to orchids is, well, it's a downside and it's an upside. It's an upside because they can live an incredibly long time, but it's a downside. They just take forever to grow. And they take forever to go from a small size to a large size to bloom. That's why I will recommend, if you ever see an orchid that you want, don't buy a seedling. Start with a blooming size. Some are more prevalent than others, or some are more necessary to do that than others. Like Rhynchostylus, if you want one of those, don't get a seedling. Don't bother with a seedling. It's going to take forever before it blooms. Just go ahead and spend the money on a blooming size plant, and you'll be much happier. But okay, so there those are. Now I'm not going to soak these because they don't have much of a root system. Actually, in fact, they have no root system. I didn't even see any like green roots. There again, I didn't really wet them, so I don't know what was alive and what wasn't. But I just know from those tiny little bits of roots they did have, they don't have much. They don't have much of a root system. Pardon the timer. All of my grow lights are on timers, and they go off and come on by themselves. Which, if you're going to grow under lights, put them on timers. Put them on timers. Do not rely on yourself to remember when to turn them on and turn them off. Put them on timers. Your plants will love you for it. If only I could have an automated watering system to where they get watered regularly on a schedule, catered to each plant, then I would be doing great. But that's more money than I have to spend. All right, so that's going to be it. Thank you for joining me. Just to give you a heads up, the next few videos that I put out are going to be similar to this. I've got a couple other orders, I think, coming in. I've also got a couple more orchids that I have bought that need to be repotted. So the next few videos will be videos like this. If they interest you, please hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my videos come out. I try to post once a week. My videos I have scheduled to come out on Fridays. every week. I found that doing one video a week gives me plenty of time to work on the next video because I work a full-time job, and this is not how I make my money. Obviously, I only have like 198 subscribers or so. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed and who are watching. I mean, I'm amazed that there are people that really want to watch me. Sometimes I think I'm boring, but you know, thank you for watching sincerely, and I hope you continue to come back and you know, leave feedback. I don't even know if half of you make it to the end of my videos or not, but you know, who knows. But I'm rambling now. Yeah. Anyway, the next video will be. Well, there will be another video. It may be not next week, but the week after that, of me actually mounting the Tolumnias on these. I have another one of these to do. I actually do have a miniature Dendrobium in one of the orders that's coming that will be mounted to one of these. I've got another one. And I'll make a small short video of me gluing these on. I mean, it's not pretty. You know, a 10-year-old could do it. It's not complicated. But I had it, the comment was made to me that maybe somebody might like to watch it, so I'll put that out there. But anyway, as always, thank you for watching. I hope your life is going great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Need more sugar.